In this TEW9 scenario, I'm going to see what would happen if Shane McMahon really bought WCW, and I'm going to control them and try to rebuild them into a prominent role in the wrestling landscape. So we're starting in May 2001. That is when I believe the last episode of Nitro happened with Shane McMahon coming on screen. But after that, it's not going to be, wrestling lore friendly, other than the fact that Shane McMahon is in charge. We are starting basically fresh. I want to start with the no style product. It just means we can do a little bit of everything. I wanted to go kind of more technical. I wanted to stay away from the sports entertainment spot just because that's what WWF is doing, and there's going to be pushing more towards it in the future. But I also wanted to mix a little bit of ECW in there because a lot of the talents were available, and Shane McMahon is kind of a crazy guy when it comes to his in-ring style. So I felt like that was perfect for that. So we're going to get a little bit of everything here. Our first show is going to be WCW Death of Nitro. Going to happen here on Monday. And it's basically going to start the new era here with a pay-per-view event. I'm not going to bring back TV right now, but when we do, we're going to bring back WCW Evolution. We're going to, like I said, it's the Death of Nitro, so Nitro will not be returning. We're going to start with a new era of World Championship Wrestling. We're going to be starting this new era of WCW inside the Greensboro Coliseum, which I know is a pretty... Oh, shoot. The wrong button. We are in the Charlotte Coliseum. Well, forget what I was just saying about the Greensboro Coliseum. That was the plan, but I guess I messed that up. But like I was going to say, it's pretty popular. Pretty prominent in WCW history. But we have... These are default broadcasters. I'm not sure how long we're going to be able to have them. We'll probably have to go through and renegotiate. Minimum quality, though, it's actually pretty low. It's 50. So we have pretty large coverage for just 50 for 50 show quality. So I think that is good. That's a big plus. TV is gonna be a little bit different. Like I said, we're not gonna do TV right away. This is the default booking team. We'll play with this stuff as we go on, but right now I just want to get into our first show here. Tatanka wants to hang out backstage. Yeah, I'll do that. I almost thought about signing him, but I just didn't really plan on. I didn't have anything really planned for him. But anyways, Vader and Vampiro have gotten into a heated argument. So these are two signings that I had made. After the start, you're going to see that there's a lot of people I have signed. These are two of them, and they have gotten off to a bad start here. Chris Candido and Bobby Roode butted heads backstage. Okay, I guess everybody is not in good shape. Jimmy Yang and Steve Corino had been hanging out backstage. Bob Sapp brought pizza for the entire locker room. Awesome. Let's inspire everybody for our first show of the new era. And now it is time to book the show. Death of Nitro starts in the pre-show with a 30-man battle royale to win the Nitro Cup, and our first ever Nitro Cup winner is Buff Bagwell. This was a pre-show match, so I wasn't too worried, but this way we got it. We got everybody on the card first show. It's had a wrestling rating of 48, crowd rating of 28, segment rating of 60. So there's a lot of things to look at here. A lot of gimmicks that need to be fixed, and actually not as much as I would think. Vader was off his game. Buff Bagwell was in poor form. I remember that now from previous attempts with this save. Conan has personal issues. So yeah, Buff Bagwell is a tricky one because he's one of the few guys with actual name value, but he's also in poor form. So we are gonna keep that in mind through moving on. Regardless, though, he is the first ever Nitro Cup winner. I don't know how many of these there will be, but he is the first one. This had a wrestling rate of 48, crowd rate of 28, segment rate of 60, and then Shane McMahon comes out, cuts a promo interviewed with Joey Styles, one of our commentators here, and Shane McMahon ushers in the new era of WCW, and it all starts here at Death of Nitro. Looks like Ian Rotten was a road agent and he did a poor job, so we're gonna have to change that. Yeah, so talking about our commentators, for at least for the first push here, our commentators are Joey Styles, Jerry Lawler, and Roddy Piper. Joey Styles and Jerry Lawler are both 85. Obviously Joey's play-by-play, and Jerry is color commentator. Roddy Piper is 69. He's lower, but it's still nice to have him on the show here. In our first match of the night, Diamond Dallas Page takes on the owner, Shane McMahon, and he beats Shane McMahon. This had a wrestling rating of 71, crowd rating of 75, and a segment rating of 79. Shane had a 69 performance, DDP with a 73 performance. Jimmy Hart was Shane's manager, but I did not realize that they were on different sides of the heel and face face divide. But Shane McMahon benefited from having a groundswell of support. Shane's a face, so I guess Jimmy Hart's a heel. I didn't expect that. But yeah, great match. Wrestling rating of 71, crowd rating of 75, segment rating of 79. And then our cruiserweight title match had I swear this wasn't the decision I made. Not a terrible one, but definitely not the decision I made. Psychosis defeats Shane Helms and Juventud Guerrero. Yeah, I did not mean to make Psychosis the winner. He was also the only person not of name that he was unimportant, which is, I don't think that's really true, but in the game, that's what he is. So, but okay, our new cruiserweight champion is Psychosis, who has a Y instead of an I in his name because Psychosis with the I after the S was taken. This had a wrestling rating of 63, crowd rating of 38, and a segment rating of 65. Ian Rotten was our road agent again. Okay, I'm gonna have to go fix this after this. Anyways, Booker T announces that he is vacating the US title to give other talent opportunities to hold that belt, and it is going to be competed for next. So whoever wants a opportunity at this belt, come out and take your shot. And this had a segment rating of 74. This did well on all fronts except for the fact that Ian Rotten did not do a good job. So let's go ahead and I'm going to take him off and I'm going to make sure he's not on the rest of the night. So for the United States Championship, Rob Van Dam takes on Canyon. Rob Van Dam picks up the win. RVD is the new WCW United States Champion. A great way to start off this new era of WCW. This had a wrestling rate of 73, crowd rating of 45, segment rating of 76. And I believe this is the first time I've seen this, but Roddy Piper and Joey Styles have good chemistry when calling matches together. That is a great sign. And RVD was off his game, but he also had an 82 performance, one of the best ones of the night. So if that's him on an off game, I'm really excited to see what he does when he's, on his game. Anyways, the Natural Born Thrillers defeat the Shiver, the team consisting of Shark Boy and the King Shark, aka John Tenta, aka Earthquake. I don't remember what other his gimmicks. But yeah, I thought this was an interesting team. I wasn't gonna sign Shark Boy. I thought about it, but then I saw John Tenta. I'm like, oh, this could be a fun gimmick. But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of tag teams, so that's gonna be something that we work on throughout. It's just John Tenta was recognizable, so that's why they are in this match. Anyways, though, the Natural Born Thrillers defend their WCW tag team titles. Also, Shark Boy's gimmick did poor. Shark Boy's debuted his Shark Boy gimmick, and it did not do well. So does that mean it's just no more Shark Boy? I don't think that's what we're gonna do, but we will change his gimmick. Anyways, in our main event for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, Booker T defeats Lance Storm. This had a wrestling rating of 80, crowd rating of 62, and a segment rating of 78. Lance Storm with an 83 performance, Booker T with a 76. Lance Storm may not have won, but I think Lance Storm is going to have quite a good future here in WCW. Maybe I'll put Jimmy Hart with Lance Storm. That's actually a really good option because Lance Storm's not a great talker, but he's a great performer. So I think that's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and finish this show and see how we did. I think we did okay. Yeah, we actually did. Overall rating 76, and we increased our popularity in 22 regions. I definitely expected to completely bomb, and we definitely had some stinkers. Really though, the worst one was Natural Born Thrillers versus Shiver, and that was kind of expected. And also the Cruiserweight Championship match kind of sucked too. I wonder if that had something to do with the winner too, but I don't know. I want to get a good Cruiserweight division. That's definitely on the checklist. We made a profit on this. We started with $10 million, and overall profit from this show was $3,380,156. So that paid off some of the debt. We got a little bit of debt from just our workers that are signed to exclusives. I'm not signing anybody else to exclusives, but obviously the people that were originally here have exclusive contracts. And then there's house shows, which I think we're going to do away with house shows. Probably should have done it beforehand, but it's costing us more money than it's actually helping. We're going to go ahead and do that as well. After that show, I went through and I wanted to see who I could put as road agents. So Arn Anderson and Fit Finley were the only two. Johnny Ace was as well, but I let him go. But so I went and I looked internally. Everybody that was over 80 psychology, I went and then I found the best. And so our road agents now are Arn Anderson, DDP, Fit Finley, Jerry Lawler, Roddy Piper, and Terry Funk. And I think that's a great list of road agents there for us. We were in the pre-show for the Great American Bash, and the Prototype defeats Christopher Daniels. Kaz Hayashi and Conan defeat America's Most Wanted, and Conan is penalized going through personal issues. That's not good. But I kind of put him together with Kaz Hayashi, not knowing if it was going to last. Kaz Hayashi, though, had a good performance, though. I think Conan's just going to hold him back, but Kaz Hayashi's definitely definitely someone to push, but right now he's in the pre-show just because he's low on popularity. Samoa Joe defeated David Flair, and CM Punk defeats Sanjay Dutt, someone else that's doing pretty good. Not as good, but still pretty good. And then we start the show with Shane McMahon being interviewed by Jerry Lawler and says that he wants to be in a tag team with Booker T. He wants to be able to feel what Booker T feels during tag team matches. And so he says in the main event tonight, him and Booker T are going to team up against any team. Anyone can come and challenge them in the main event tonight. And this had a summer rating of 80. And then we have Chavo Guerrero defeating Shane Helms in a high spots match to become the #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship. This had a wrestling rating of 59, crowd rating of 39, and a summer rating of 66. Chavo with the 58 performance and Shane Helms with a 6. Then we have Vader defeating Canyon. This had a wrestling rating of 49, crowd rating of 52, summer rating of 43. Vader didn't do so hot. Canyon did okay with a 50. Vader and Canyon don't click at all, and that's unfortunate. Then we have Jimmy Hart hyping up Lance Storm before Lance Storm's match here up next. This had a summer rating of 59, and everyone seemed to do well. So Lance Storm defeats Diamond Dallas Page, getting his comeback here after losing his last match. This had a wrestling rating of 80, crowd rating of 66, and a summer rating of 70. Lance Storm with an 88, DDP with a 72, and they actually have good chemistry together. I don't really want to bury DDP, and I don't really want to kill his momentum, but like Lance Storm needs some good wins right now, and we don't got a lot of people. So, but DDP will not be losing all the time, but great performance from Lance Storm with an 88 performance. Then we have Rob Van Dam defeating Terry Funk for the United States Championship, defending his championship. It's in a hardcore match. RVD with an 83 performance, Terry Funk with a 47. Maybe we can protect Terry Funk. I gotta figure out how to use him well, but I don't know if he's gonna be someone that we can really rely on at this point. I mean, obviously, I think he's like 57. I mean, I know in real life he was probably still going well, but I don't know. 47 is still pretty good, but not really competing with RVD's 83 though. Anyways, it is right before the main event, and Buff Bagwell and Jesse James comes out cutting promos, saying that they're gonna join forces here to take on Shane and Booker T to take an opportunity. This had a summer rating of 63, and I don't know what I was saying by the way. In our main event, Shane McMahon and Booker T defeats Buff Bagwell and Jesse James. This had a wrestling rating of 56, crowd rating of 64, and a summer rating of 70, but there was a lot of red here. Buff Bagwell was unhappy. I think he's unhappy because we signed Too Cold Scorpio, and is this really why he's phoning his performance though? But Buff Bagwell was really off his game. Buff Bagwell and Jesse James have zero chemistry as partners, so I guess it doesn't really matter that Buff Bagwell did not do well because he will not be being used in this capacity anytime soon. I probably won't. I'm gonna try to make him happy, but I don't think I'm gonna really push Buff Bagwell too much, to be honest. He's good on the mic though. We could keep him doing stuff on the mic, but wrestling, I don't really think he's gonna be one of our top guys, and he was in Perform. Shane McMahon took a stump bump because he's Shane McMahon. Yeah, that show, I could feel it. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. I don't really know. I gotta compare the two shows, but the main event definitely could have been a way better, and that was really a bad decision. We're in a tough spot. We don't got a lot of stars, and I thought Buff Bagwell would have been okay losing in this, but I guess that was not the case. Anyways, let's just continue. I'm going to, I don't know, giving him encouragement, because it's not, I don't know if he's gonna get upset by that, but we're gonna do that. I don't want to like complain or make him mad too much. I don't know, but let's do this. So Buff Bagwell will give encouragement. We'll point RVD and Lance Storm out as good performances. Buff Bagwell is pleased. Okay, that's good. And we still made money though. We're still making money, so that's good to see. Popularity, we gained popularity in quite a bit of places, but we actually lost it in the Southeast and then the Mid-Atlantic. And I'm just gonna skip this because these all suck. So this is good news. Great American Bash has went up to above average event, so that's really good to see. Obviously that was 15, so now next one will be 16. So yeah, obviously it's a pretty prestigious event, especially for WCW, so that's good to see. We have a huge signing here for our cruiserweight division. Taka Michinoku, who has recently let his WWF contract expire, so I believe he'll be starting in 20 days. I believe that's what it is, 26 days. So in 26 days we'll be able to have him, I believe, well, that's just right after Bash of the Beach, but we will have him by our next pay-per-view pay-per-view event. And then we have contract extension with Kaz Hayashi, and we also are extending our contract with Buff Bagwell. I know he didn't perform super well last time, but he's a name, so good to have him around for people to beat. And then we also have another cruiserweight competitor available in Brian Christopher. We offered him a contract. Obviously, he is also known as Grandmaster Sexay, or the son of Jerry Lawler. So he's available. Let's see if he's got... Yeah, so he does have drug problems. I don't know if he's really gonna be receptive to us, but let's ask him to stop doing hard drugs. Gives no response. What about painkillers? Okay, yeah. So maybe when he signs with us, he'll talk to us, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But he's leaving WWF, and same with Taka. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity to extend our cruiserweight division, because I want to get WCW back to having a cruiserweight division that it did in its prime. The pre-show for Bash at the Beach 8 starts with the Young Dragons defeating America's Most Wanted with a wrestling rate of 45, crowd of 18, semi-rate of 53. Kaz Hayashi with his 60 performance, killing it. Nelson Knight defeats Vader. We need, well, I mean, we don't need, but I want to have a good big man, and Nelson Knight's not really a good big man, but Vader, actually, he did really well here. I gotta be honest. So maybe I should do something else with Vader. Maybe him in the pre-show. I was gonna have kind of pushed Nelson Knight, aka Viscera, but I think honestly, maybe I should just keep Vader in the pre-show for right now and see if I can build him up a little bit. I know he just lost, which is unfortunate, but anyways, continue. We learn, and that's why we do the pre-show, so we can experiment and learn stuff. AJ Styles defeats Air Paris, his former partner here. AJ Styles and Air Paris did pretty good compared to each other. Oh my god. I knew this was gonna be good, but not this good. In our opener, Rob Van Dam defeats a debuting Kurt Hennig to make defense number 2 of his WCW United States title. Set a wrestling rate of 75, crowd rating of 54, and semi rate of 86. Kurt with a 64 performance, Rob Van Dam with an 87 performance. Obviously, Kurt's got that technical ability I want, and RVD's got more of the youth that I want. So that match definitely formed there. Definitely getting Rob Van Dam a lot over. But Bagwell comes out. He's being interviewed by Jerry Lawler, just kind of saying, like, I've been hearing rumblings in the back that people don't want me here, but I want to be here and I want to get my hands on someone right now. So he leaves an open challenge. This is a 72 performance, and to answer that is Diamond Dallas Page, who defeats Buff Bagwell with a wrestling rating of 64, crowd rating of 68, and a segment rating of 75. DDP with a 72 performance, Bagwell with a 55. He was penalized for being an extremely poor form. I put Jesse James as his manager, which still seems to work. They didn't work as a tag team, but that's gonna help boost Buff Bagwell up a little bit just because he's in poor form. And we have Juventud Guerrero defeats Billy Kidman in a high spots match. It's at a wrestling rating of 62, crowd of 42, summer rating of 69. Billy Kidman with a 60, Juventud with a 64. Then we have the Natural Born Thrillers defeating the Sandman and Sabu to make defense number 2 of their tag team titles. Sean O'Hara had a really good performance with 62. Chip Bombo was pretty good, but not as good as Sean, but he had a 51 performance. I can't seem to get tag teams. I have some tag teams that I already hear, but I want to get some with recognizable names, and this is not working. Maybe I'll do like a recognizable person with a unimportant person, but this search for a new tag team is not working. But the Natural Born Thrillers continue their reign. And then we have Psychosis defending his Cruiserweight Championship against Chavo Guerrero with a wrestling rating of 58, crowd rating of 40, semi rating of 65. Psychosis with a 55 performance, Chavo with a 61. Wow, great performance from Chavo. Someone I thought was going to do a lot better. Definitely thought I was going to do a lot better. Lance Storm defeats Shane Helms, wrestling rating of 66, crowd rating of 49, semi rating of 66. Lance Storm with a 76 performance, Shane Helms with a 56. Shane Helms benefited from having a hot new move and also being the flavor of the month. And then we have Booker T saying that he gained respect for Shane McMahon after their match together last pay-per-view, and so he offers Shane a world title match. Now obviously obviously Shane McMahon can just take one whenever he wants, but Booker T saying I respect you and I will love to defend my title against you, and that is what's going to happen with the semi rating of 90. Wow. Booker was superb. Shane McMahon struggled with quite off script. Shane McMahon foreshadowed a heel turn. Hint, hint. Booker T benefited from having a hot catchphrase. Booker T benefited from being the flavor of the month, and Shane McMahon benefited from having a groundswell of support. And it is now time for the match. Shane McMahon defeating Booker T following an interference from CM Punk, and Shane McMahon wins the WCW World Heavyweight title. A McMahon is now a WCW champion. Set a wrestling rating of 81, crowd rating of 73, segment rating of 83, Booker T with a 91 performance, Shane with a 72 performance. There was a lack of psychology on display, which is kind of expected, but didn't really matter. Great match. Same things as kind of before. And after the match, Shane McMahon is standing with CM Punk, telling Booker T that he is a fool and that he will never be the face of WCW. And what is CM Punk's involvement? We don't really know. He looked dreadful, unfortunately, but he also did well without going off script, so I think he's just inexperienced. I think he's going to be great soon. But yeah, CM Punk is now seemingly aligned with Shane McMahon, but had a segment rating of 89. Great performances at this show. Yeah, 83 rating. I think those two, Booker T and Shane McMahon, I think that combination is kind of magic. And then, of course, Rob Van Dam defeating Kurt Hennig was incredible. Go ahead, compliment Booker T, Rob Van Dam, and let's do Kurt Hennig, not Charles Robinson. Kurt Hennig, just for being in the match. He doesn't, he wasn't the best, but, he obviously did pretty good to be looking so good with Rob Van Dam. We made 3,400,000 and gained popularity everywhere. That was in the Great Lakes region, trying to build up popularity in places outside of Mid-Atlantic so we can hopefully boost up a size rating. We're starting this challenge. I also reopened ECW. It had absolutely no talent, no owners or anything, but I got picked up by Don Montoya, and these are some of the recent shows here. You got Violent J and Tony Atlas defeating Thrasher, Dennis Knight in a tables match, Blue Meanie and LA Park. Oh, and Shaggy 2-Dub defeated Roadkill and Lee and Harris. Ron Harris defeated Tommy Cairo. Pitbull number 1 defeated Don Montoya. There was a backstage segment with Bobby Heenan, interview with Dusty Rhodes, and then Wife Beater defeated Mike Quackenbush. And then Heatwave had an interview with Dusty Rhodes. Wife Beater defeated Mike Quackenbush. Another backstage segment with Bobby Heenan. Lenny Lane defeated Tommy Cairo. Thrasher defeated Don Montoya in a ladder match. Blue Meanie, Violent J, and Shaggy 2-Dope defeated Ron Harris and Lee and Harris. Who's Lee and Harris? Oh, Brian Lee, Don Harris, Ron Harris. Oh my god, got the whole team here, it looks like. LA Park and Tony Atlas defeated Dennis Knight and Pitbull number 1. And then, matter of respect, Lenny Lane defeated Mike Quackenbush. Bobby Heenan backstage segment, interview with Dusty Rhodes. Wife Beater defeated Tommy Cairo in a tables match. Johnny Grunge defeated Don Montoya. Tony Atlas defeated Roadkill in a tables match. Blue Meanie and LA Park. And Shaggy 2-Dope defeated Don Harris, Thrasher, and Ron Harris. Violent J also defeated Dennis Knight. So yeah, they're not in good shape because they're $6 million in debt. Looks like they fell to a small size, but they're still around. They have their titles. No one has them, so I don't know. Oh yeah, they were retired, so I don't know if they're ever going to bring them back or what is the deal, but they're still kind of alive in a way. Don't really know what their history is going to be, but I guess it's something we can keep an eye on throughout. The pre-show of WCW Crowd Control starts with America Most Wanted defeating 3 Count, and 3 Count had great performances, so another team I'm going to start focusing on pushing here in the pre-show. Hopefully we can get them up to the main card. Then we have Juventud Guerrera defeating Ultima Dragon in a high spots match. Set a wrestling rating of 59, crowd rating of 40, summon rating of 61. Juventud with a 61 and Ultimo Dragon with a 56. This would have been, I think all that this was missing is just star quality at this point. And then we have Vader defeating Terry Funk, the 61 performance. Vader doing a 64, so he's doing really well as well. In our opening match, Booker T defeats Kurt Hennig. Kurt Hennig's on quite a losing streak here to start off his WCW return, but the set a wrestling rating of 76, crowd of 62, summon rating of 81. Kurt with a 70, Booker T with an 82. Then we have Kaz Hayashi defeating the debuting Brian Christopher with a wrestling rating of 51, crowd rating of 34, summon rating of 52. Brian Christopher the 47, Kaz with the 55. Brian Christopher's penalized from being in poor form. Yeah, I think that's kind of the territory. I should have expected that, but I did not, and I signed him. I'm actually going to talk to him after this show. I forgot to do that, so maybe he'll listen to us, and maybe we can get him off at least the hard drugs. Probably can't get him off everything, but at least it's worth the try to get him off the harder stuff. Anyways, CM Punk defeats Shane Helms with a wrestling rating of 58, crowd rating of 27, and a sigma rating of 56. Shane Helms with a 54 performance, CM Punk with a 63. Amazing performance from Punk. We just got to get him, some reps in and get some popularity on him. We have Diamond Dallas Page and Booker T confronting Shane McMahon and CM Punk about their actions at the last show. This got a sigma rating of 78, and this also promotes the upcoming match between Diamond Dallas Page and Shane McMahon at the main event tonight. A new team that might be okay. Sean Stasiak and AJ Styles debuted as a tag team and defeated the Shiver with a wrestling rating of 45, crowd of 28, and a semi rating of 55. I mean, not a great match, but AJ Styles with a 49 performance, Sean Stasiak with a 52. So you get what you get. That was pretty good for our tag teams. Who's turning? I didn't mean to continue, but we did anyways. I forget who was turning. I think, it was AJ Styles. I think he had a gimmick change, but I guess we skipped it. Anyways, Lance Storm defeating Chavo Guerrero. This had a wrestling rating of 69, crowd rating of 49, segment rating of 79. Chavo with a 59 performance, and Lance Storm with a 79. Lance Storm is obviously one of our top performers here, and this just proves it once again. Even Chavo killed it. Chavo's pretty much that score we're looking for at this time. Obviously, Lance Storm, though, is just way above that. So great performance from both of them. And in our main event, Shane McMahon defeats Diamond Dallas Page due to interference from CM Punk. That is his first defense of the WCW World Heavyweight title. DDP with the 71 performance, Shane McMahon with a 68 performance. I don't know if I said this already, but wrestling rating of 70, crowd rating of 75, segment rating of 75 as well. After the match, we have the four men, CM Punk, Booker T, Diamond Dallas Page, and Shane McMahon all brawling just to end off the show, which had a 70 rating. CM Punk did not come out this looking good. Actually lost his popularity in two regions, Gaddis and 22. That's not good. I'm assuming that the two regions are the two that were the most popular in. Not a terrible show, but definitely could be a lot better. Let's see. Address the locker room. Let's compliment Lance Storm, Booker T, and let's do Chavo. If I can type in his name correctly. Praise him. Great. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Financial report, we made over $3 million again. And yeah, it was the Southeast and the Mid-Atlantic where we lost popularity. So we're just kind of evening out, I guess, is the best way to look at it. We gained popularity in everywhere else, though. So nothing to be too upset about. Fall Brawl number 9 starts off with Booker T and clearly Shane McMahon. It is definitely Shane McMahon. Booker T and Shane McMahon are the captains for Fall Brawl War Games this year. This had a segment rating of 69. After that, we have Juventud Guerrera defeating Psychosis, Billy Kidman, and Ultima Dragon to win the Cruiserweight Championship. Juventud has so far been our best performer in the Cruiserweight division, so he is now the champion. This had a wrestling rating of 62, cred rating of 41, segment rating of 68. We have Booker T and DDP kind of joined forces. Booker T says that he wants DDP on his War Games team, and this guy's segment rating of 90. And after that, we have Vader defeating Hugh Morris with a wrestling rating of 61, crowd rating of 50, segment rating of 67. Both Vader and Hugh Morris had a performance of 61. Wow. Not a super high rated match, but wow, both good performances from them. Then we have the rest of the team here decided. So that Booker T announces that his team for War Games will be himself, Natural Born Thrillers, Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Hare, and Rob Van Dam. This had a segment rating of 65. Wow, this show is not gonna be good. Booker T, DDP, Chuck Palumbo, Sean O'Hare, and Rob Van Dam defeats Shane McMahon's team, Buff Bagwell, CM Punk, Ken Shamrock, a debuting Ken Shamrock, and Lance Storm in the War Games match. This had a wrestling rating of 64, crowd rating of 58, segment rating of 66. Thought this was gonna do way better. Maybe it was too early to do a War Games match, but that's just the time of year. I thought we could do it, but I guess not. That did not do well. Anyways, Sean O'Hare sustained a strained bicep, and Rob Van Dam sustained a broken jaw. I don't think either of those are serious injuries. Hopefully not, because both of them are champions. Go ahead and finish the show, and let's get this over with here. And Ken Shamrock has heat. Okay, not terrible. We lost popularity in 9 regions, increased in 15. Yeah, the only segment that actually did well was Booker T and DDP together. So let's compliment Booker T and Diamond Dallas Page for doing their best. Compliment Vader. Okay, so they both can be worked through, but I believe that we won't have a problem with either. These guys will be back by our next show anyways, so it's one benefit from doing monthly shows. We made a little under $3 million, and yeah, so we basically lost popularity in all of America, gained popularity in the other regions that we do present shows. In order to save some money, I'm offering everybody contracts that are per show, just because we're definitely not going to spend more by doing that. We're definitely going to be saving a little bit of money there, so all the little money helps. Once we get like in a really good position, Scott Hudson, I'm just gonna let him go, but once we get in a really good position, like we're making a decent amount of money, then I'll start offering more lucrative contracts. But like, we're making $1 million, we could be making so much more, we could be doing way better stuff. So the plan is that, especially because we don't have TV, so we're doing one show a month. Looks like WWF dropped their ties with their developmental brands. I don't believe MCW, OVW, and IWA. I didn't even realize they had a deal with IWA. So looks like they are just basically going on their own. I don't think they have any other, I don't know if I can even see this relationships. I guess I can't. OVW, they have friendly attitude. MCW, they're hostile with each other now. ICW. ECW has an agreement to do developmental, so I guess that's why they dropped them for ECW, the probably more lucrative company, more bigger name. That's crazy. Did that happen did I accidentally do that somehow? Oh, that's why that happened. WWF by ECW. Wow. That actually, they got bought out by WWF twice. That's insane. So technically the titles could come back to to the ECW, but I don't think that's how that's gonna happen. But yeah, that's crazy. I haven't seen something like that happen. I've never seen a company buy another company before in the game like that. I've always just been the one doing it. That's crazy. Johnny B. Bad turned up high on soft drugs, and he had to be sent home because he was in no condition to work. And if you ask me, I think that's just 90s wrestling. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna give him a stern warning. I feel like whatever, people are arguing with each other too. Oh yeah, I don't know if I addressed this, but Kurt Hennig is now the mentor of John Cena, which is crazy. That would be insane, and I'm not gonna do anything here. Right, we open Halloween Havoc with DDP opening the show. I didn't have really too much I thought about using him for. We don't have a lot of heels, so I mean we do, but not good enough heels. So DDP just cut a promo, open up the show, welcome everyone to Halloween Havoc. Oh, I did not mean to. We have a match with AJ Styles and Shawn Stasiak, taking a loss here to 3 count. 3 count is honestly just performing really well. I want to push AJ and Stasiak a little bit, but 3 count's good, and we really need to get some tag teams up and running here. But we have a gimmick change, I believe. Yeah, AJ Styles. Oh no, he's changing. Currently heel. He's changing to face. Okay, so yeah, he changed his gimmick there to face. This had a wrestling rating of 54, a crowd rating of 30, and a semi rating of 62. So this one's gonna do a little bit better here. But Rob Van Dam. I'm just gonna say RVD from now on. I can never say Rob Van Dam for some reason. He defeats Vader though to defend his United States title. This had a wrestling rating of 65, crowd rating of 52, and a semi rating of 65. RVD with a 72 performance. Vader with a 58. Vader, when I don't think he's gonna do good, he does good. When I think he's gonna do good, he does bad, and it's really frustrating. But this match did a lot better. We had Lance Storm defeating Hugh Morris with a wrestling rating of 66, crowd rating of 53, cycling rating of 74. Lance Storm with a 79 performance. Hugh Morris with a 54 performance. This one didn't do very good either. Ken Shamrock was interviewed coming up to his match. He debuted last month in the War Games match, and this is his first time to talk, and not a great time talking here with a 7 rating of 55. But regardless on how that went, he had a match against Jeff Jarrett where Jeff Jarrett wins, and yes, this is Jeff Jarrett's debut. He has now gone over his previous contract, so we went ahead and signed him. Surprisingly, Ken Shamrock did better than Jeff Jarrett with a 70 performance, and then Jarrett with a 67 performance, so that sucks, but we still had a good match though, with a center wrestling rating of 69, crowd rating of 65, a segment rating of 73. I kind of figured Jeff Jarrett was going to be one of our top performers. We have a lot of faces in the recognizable, I believe, area, so I made him face, so I don't think I'm really gonna have him. I don't know, we're in kind of a tricky spot. I'm just kind of going with things when they happen instead of planning ahead, which I should probably be doing, but that's how we just do things. So we have, my point is that probably our 3 top guys are all faces, and Booker T, DDP, and Jeff Jarrett now, but it's okay. Anyways, Jeff Jarrett had an interview with Jerry Lawler afterwards, and again, this didn't perform very well at all, and I especially from Jeff Jarrett. Expected a lot better, but this got a segment rating of 67. In our main event, Shane McMahon defends the World Heavyweight title against Booker T because of interference from CM Punk, and I will say this also was a strap match. So this had a wrestling rating of 71, crowd rating of 74, and a segment rating of 78. I'm at wrestling rating for that first one, so wrestling rating of 71, segment rating of 78. Very tired. Shane McMahon with a 67 performance, Booker T with a 74 performance, and Shane McMahon is benefiting from having a groundswell of support. And that was our show. I'm a little bit worried to see the results. 77. It's really good. I think that actually may be one of our best ones, if not our best. Go ahead and let's compliment Booker T, Lance Storm. I cannot remember who performed well other than that. Oh, Diamond Dallas Page. She did really good. He had a really good promo. So let's point him out as a good example. $3 million and gained popularity everywhere. So yeah, that was a great show. I think this might have been our best one yet. I'll have to go and check. So it wasn't our best show. It was our second best show, just behind Bash to the Beach. But we are continuing to make good progress. So far, this is one of my better attempts at a challenge so far. Yeah, $2 million. I think we might actually be able to end the month with that much money. So if we can make basically doubled, not exactly the math off the top of my head, but that's real progress right there. All right, let's check it out. Okay, so we did make a little bit more, but not a lot more. But hopefully because of, the changes that we're making, the people that are on exclusive contracts are now being changed to written contracts, written and pay per appearance. And I know we got a lot of people that we don't use, but they're not affecting us financially too much. But like I said, once the contracts expire, I'll change them, but we kind of have to deal with them if they're not. Like Nick Patrick, I don't think we'll be playing until May 2003, so we probably won't be able to ever change his contract, but it's just the thing we got to figure out. But we are making money, so that's very good. It is time for WCW Blackout, and we start in the pre-show with a 20-man battle royale for the United States Championship, and RVD defends his United States Championship. This had a wrestling rating of 55, crowd rating of 44, and a summary rating of 61. I didn't think it was going to do very well, so I put it on the pre-show. It looks like Sean O'Haire bruised his pectoral, and then we had Buff Bagwell was off his game, Sandman off his game. Sean O'Haire benefited from having a hot new move. RVD looks great out there. Brent Christopher was in perform, Buff Bagwell was in perform, and we knew that. And also Vampiro as well, so that's not good. Anyways, but we start the main card here with Booker T, Diamond Dallas Page, Jeff Jarrett, and Shane McMahon all cutting promos on each other. All of these men want the world title. Great all around. Everything did really well. 92 performance. And I forgot to change Shane to heel, so we did now just do that. And our opening match is Lance Storm defeating Jeff Jarrett. Set a wrestling rate of 72, crowd of 65, segment of 77. Jeff Jarrett with a 65 performance, Lance Storm with a 79. And then we have 3 count defeating a new team here of Kurt Hennig and Dustin Rhodes. Dustin with a 65 performance, Kurt with a 68, Shannon Moore with a 54, Evan Courageous with a 55. Average match. Trying to get 3 count over a little bit more, and this hopefully is doing the job a little bit. Ken Shamrock defeats Jesse James with a wrestling rate of 65, crowd rate of 58, segment rate of 69. Jesse with a 63, Ken Shamrock with a 66. This was a great match, and I'm glad they debuting Rey Mysterio defeated Juventud Guerrero, Billy Kidman, Psychosis, Taka Michinoku, and Ultimo Dragon to win the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Rey Mysterio was head and shoulders above everyone else with a 79 performance, Billy Kidman with a 58, Juventud with a 62, Psychosis with a 62, Taka with a 49, Ultimo with a 59. That performance from Taka is not very good. The 49 there, that's not very good. Also, Billy Kidman has a gimmick that's getting stale. We can go ahead and tweak that once we get done with this here. But anyways, this had a wrestling rating of 61, credit rating of 41, and a segment rating of 73. Good job, Taco. Anyways, we end the night with a 3-way match between Booker T, Diamond Dallas Page, and Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon once again picking up the victory because of interference from CM Punk and also the Prototype. Shane McMahon building a team here of the youth to help him stay champion. And this had a wrestling rating of 72, crowd rating of 75, segment rating of 80. Booker T with a 76 performance, Diamond Dallas Page with a 72, Shane McMahon with a 67. And obviously, I'm aware that Shane's not the best performer, but I feel like the chase is definitely helping. I feel like keeping the story going a little bit longer. That way we can have, utilize our talents to the best of our abilities. We don't have a lot of top guys, so we need to make sure we are utilizing them well. And I think this is definitely a good way to do it here. And also, it's making it a little bit more believable that Shane McMahon isn't just beating these guys based on his skill, since he's getting people to help him in the process. 80 show. So this was great. Second best show now again. We are doing it. We are definitely having some good shows. I noticed here the attendance, I'm pretty sure was like 20,000. So we didn't sell out a show. That's okay though. Still great show, it looks like. Let's go ahead. Compliment Booker T, Rey Mysterio, Lance Storm. Injury review. So he's gonna be out for 22 days, so that won't be a problem since we don't do shows that often. We made about the same money as usual. Gained popularity. Great. I'm actually really happy with how things are going. Vampiro is causing problems backstage in XPW, and I know that he is in poor shape. I'm going to get ahead of this, and I'm going to not exactly release him, but we're going to change his contract to only a month. So he'll be gone in a month. I just don't want to keep him around. I don't want him damaging backstage. He's not very good, and that's that. I just don't want, you know what? I think I'm actually going to do the same thing with Brian Christopher too. Buff Bagwell is kind of useful because he's higher popularity, so we'll keep him for a little bit longer. But yeah, these guys, they're not giving me any reason to keep them, so I'm gonna go ahead and let them go. But we are still continuing to make money. Our shows are just getting better and better, except for we can't top the Bash at the Beach, but we're inching closer, so we are almost, I don't know what we're almost to. I basically just saying things. Yeah. It is time for the first Starrcade of the Shane McMahon era, and we start the Starrcade with Jerry Lawler and Roddy Piper starting out the show, hyping everybody up and getting people ready for Starrcade. It's got a semi-reign of 83. And then we have Rey Mysterio defeating Juventud Guerrero to retain the Cruiserweight Championship. Set a best reign of 73, credit reign of 48, and a semi-reign of 77. Rey Mysterio with a 74 performance, Juventud with 71. This is what I wanted more with the Cruiserweights. Only thing is now is we gotta find more Cruiserweights to contribute to this. We have RVD defeating Ken Shamrock to defend his United States Championship. This had a wrestling rate of 73, credit rating of 57, and a segment rated of 71. Ken Shamrock with a 75 performance, RVD with a 71. This was supposed to be Booker T and DDP, but I guess now this is just going to be Booker T hyping himself up before his match later on tonight. This has a summer rate of 76. That probably would have been a lot better if DDP was in it. I don't know how I messed that up, but anyways, the next match is Lance Storm defeating Jeff Jarrett and DDP. See, because he didn't have Booker T hyping him up, he lost the match. But this is a steal of the show match. Set a wrestling rate of 79, crowd rating of 72, and a 7 rating of 80 overall. Jeff Jarrett had a 69 performance. Lance Storm with an 89 performance. Jesus Christ. And then DDP with a 78 performance. Lance Storm, he deserves it. I get it. He lacks the charisma and he didn't really go very far in real life, but these performances are too good and we need stars right now. And he is a star. 3 count. Defeat the Natural Born Thrillers to win the WCW World Tag Team titles. Set a wrestling rate of 62, crowd rating of 41, and a segment rating of 70. Sean O'Hare with a 66 performance, Chuck Palumbo with a 64, Shannon Moore with a 59, Evan Courageous with a 60. And in our main event, in a cage match, Booker T defeats Shane McMahon to win the World Heavyweight title. This had a wrestling rating of 79, crowd rating of 75, segment rating of 82. Booker T had a ring performance of 92. Shane McMahon with a performance of 66. Both Shane and Booker took crazy bumps and stump bumps during this match. So hopefully, I see that definitely helped things out quite a bit. And 81, still not our best show, but second best show. We are doing really well. I'm really happy with that. It is the beginning of 2002, so time to go over the end of year award. Our male wrestler of the year was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Female wrestler was Chyna. Company of the year was WWF. Tag team of the year was Brothers of Destruction. Match of the year was Triple H defeating Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, and Edge. Show of the year was WWF No Mercy. Male wrestler of the year was Jeff Hardy. Female Young Wrestler of the Year was Momo Nakanishi. Female Veteran of the Year was Scott Hall. Female Veteran of the Year was what is her name? Ivory. Male Independent Wrestler of the Year was Junichiro Tenryu. Female Wrestler of the Year was Kyoko Inu. Male Manager of the Year was Roddy Piper. I never used him as a manager, but congratulations, Roddy Piper. He's the only person so far that's won an award for us. But Female Manager of the Year was Daphne. Where is she? Oh, she's in WWF. Was she in WWF in real life? I do not know. Oh, they hired her. I should have got her. I wasn't even thinking about her, unfortunately. Play-by-play is Jim Ross. Color commentator is Paul Heyman. Male Wrestler of the Year is Mike Chioda. Female Referee of the Year is Nikan Lee. Why? I never knew they put their like ethnicity or whatever. The nationality, sorry. It says drumroll please. Our female referee is South Korean mass slapping, rule enforcing, count out giving kingpin Nikan Lee. I've never seen. Yeah, they've never done that before. That really threw me off. Maybe they do that with the referees, but wait, male referee. Yeah, with Mike Chioda, it's just male referee of the year 2001 goes to Mike Chioda, who has captured the trophy for the first time, and then hers, she goes, female referee of the year. They give him like a whole thing, and I see. So Hulk Hogan has returned. Kevin Nash has returned. Scott Steiner has returned. To be honest, the only person I offered a contract to was Scott Steiner. I don't want Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan. I just don't want the headaches. I really don't. I basically at this point, I feel like I'm gonna have a pretty anti-Hulk Hogan policy for everything. I don't even know if they will. Oh, Kevin Nash will. I don't know about Hogan. Hulk Hogan's always a terrible. I could sign him. He's a lot of money though. Scott Steiner is $3,000 a show, so that's pretty good. Once we start doing TV, it's gonna be a different story. And Sting's still not available. He won't be for a while. He's the one I really want. He's probably gonna be expensive, but it's Sting, so hopefully we have till November 2002 to get our stuff together here, so we can be able to afford Sting. We're almost at $20 million. I was hoping that we were gonna pass it, but because of our wages, we ended up not getting that at the end of the month. The last thing to do for the start of the year is check out our awards, and we don't have many, I guess, because we just don't have many, and that's unfortunate. We just have Match of the Year and Card of the Year, probably because it's been a while. 8 months. I think we did a show that's kind of annoying. Anyways, well, we have to see we have to deal with what we get here. End of year awards. So RVD defeating Kurt Hennig at Bash of the Beach was our Match of the Year, 86. That makes sense. And Card of the Year was Bash of the Beach as well. Yeah, that was a good show, and like I said at the end of Starrcade, and like I said at the end of Blackout, like I said at the end of Halloween Havoc, we are just trying to catch up to that, and we are close. I mean, Starrcade was the best one so far with an 81, so we're getting there. We kick off the Sin pre-show with the Young Dragons defeating the Bad Breed with a wrestling rating of 49, crowd rating of 27, segment rating of 55. Corey Wilson defeats Paisley, and that is right. It definitely was a bad start, but it's a start. We are introducing women's wrestling now, so I'm going to find some more women's wrestlers, but I want to focus on Corey and Stacy Keibler because those are two that have been here and are like the only two. We're about to lose Paisley, but from now on, I want to focus on the women's division, and this one did pretty bad. It had a wrestling rating of 22, crowd rating of 22, and a segment rating of 25, but it's on the pre-show, so it's fine. And then we have AJ Styles defeating Amazing Red with a wrestling rating of 46, crowd rating of 8, segment rating of 51. All right, and we start Sin with Booker T cutting a promo celebrating his title win, and then we have Shane McMahon and CM Punk ruining it, coming out complaining about Booker T and all that stuff. This got a summary rating of 75. Punk and Booker T both struggled going off script, so that's not good. Oh, Punk just actually performed poorly, but Booker T struggled because he was off script. CM Punk then has a match and defeats Hugh Morris with a wrestling rating of 49, crowd rating of 33, summary rating of 52. Hugh Morris with a 48, CM Punk with a 51. I predict CM Punk's gonna rise pretty quickly, and that is the plan at least, and I hope it happens. Rey Mysterio defeats Shannon Moore with a wrestling rating of 65, crowd rating of 46, segment rating of 69. Bray with a 70 performance, Shannon Moore with a 60 performance. During the match, I don't think I said it, but I forgot to. But the storyline was supposed to be Shannon Moore was supposed to be attacked by King Shark of the Shiver, kicking off the 3 counts feud with the Shiver. But we'll just act like it started. Dustin Rhodes defeats Kurt Hennig. This had a wrestling rating of 59, crowd rating of 45, segment semi-reign of 65. Kurt with his 56 performance. Dustin Rhodes with a 62 performance. And a quick note about Kurt Hennig. I heard that there was a Mandela effect about Kurt Hennig's name being Kurt Hennig, and I fully believe that. I've always called him Kurt Hennig, and I never thought anything about it. But Kurt Hennig, that's something to think about, because now I think about it all the time. Every time I see him, I always called him Kurt Hennig my whole life, and I've definitely in this video, and I probably will again. Anyways, next match, RVD defeats Taka Michinoku with a wrestling reign of 68, crowd reign of 47, and semi reign of 79. RVD defends his United States title. RVD with a 79 performance, Taka with a 57 performance. Taka, we definitely got to push Taka a little bit better because, yeah, he's performing pretty good, 57. Obviously, RVD, though, with an amazing 79 performance. We have Jeff Jarrett has an interview with Jerry Lawler before his upcoming match, and it is time for that match. Ken Shamrock defeats Jeff Jarrett, getting his revenge on Jeff Jarrett because Jeff Jarrett won their last match. This had a wrestling reign of 67, crowd reign of 64, semi reign of 65. Ken with a 66 performance, Jeff with a 67. And in our main event, Lance Storm defeats Diamond Dallas Page with a wrestling reign of 84, crowd reign of 74, semi reign of 73. Lance Storm with a 93 performance, DDP with a 74 performance, and they have good chemistry, so I'm actually really happy to see that. Go ahead and finish the show though. It's actually lost its popularity in 2 regions. That is so sad. We got to figure out something to kick it off with, but things are going better. I'm actually, I feel okay. I feel happy about it, but obviously we definitely need to make a little bit of a push here to get better shows. I'm gonna go ahead and make some relationships here. First of them being All Japan Women, just so we can get some women here. That actually became our sister promotion, which is really cool. And let's offer to accept workers on excursion. They actually do not want that. Will they accept our workers? So they accept our workers. It's not really what I wanted though. But there's that. And then there's what's another women's company? Is that actually it? That's the only women's companies? Wow. Well, then never mind then. There's a lot of companies here that I'm holding myself back that I could just buy out. APW would kind of be we don't need a developmental though. I gotta really try. I'm really trying to be smart, and I always do that. I always buy companies out because I just want to and ruin everything. I'm not gonna do it this time. Not right now. I'm not gonna promise because I probably will, but not right now. Pre-show for Greed 2 starts with Stasiak and Styles defeating Romeo and Skipper. This had a wrestling reign of 51, crowd reign of 29, segment reign of 46. Joey Wilson defeats cheerleader Melissa with a wrestling reign of 31, crowd reign of 20, segment reign of 18. Taka Michinoku defeats Nelson Knight with a wrestling reign of 56, crowd reign of 38, segment reign of 54. The Prototype defeats the Prototype defeats CM Punk. Following interference from Diamond Dallas Page, Diamond Dallas Page was escorted out of the arena in an ambulance last month. So DDP looks like he is not happy interfering in the pre-show against CM Punk. This had a wrestling reign of 45, crowd reign of 15, semi reign of 49. Natty Neidhart defeats Kaoru Idu with a wrestling rating of 29, crowd reign of 5, semi reign of 32. Kaoru Idu with a 44, Natty with a 14 performance. And I know Natty's probably, I know for sure just by looking at it, she's not the better of the two, but the problem with the Japanese talent that I've gotten is that they're loyal to other companies, and I don't really want that. So they're going to be here as kind of like enhancement talents, but they're not, I'm going to use them to get the other people over just because they're not loyal to us. They're loyal to other companies. So anyways, our opening match, Lance Storm defeats Shane McMahon following interference from Diamond Dallas Page once again. This had a wrestling reign of 81, crowd rating of 75, the reign of 83. Lance Storm with a 92 performance, Shane McMahon with a 71 performance. After the fact, Booker T and Diamond Dallas Page take out Shane McMahon. So now both CM Punk and Shane McMahon are out for the count for the rest of the night, it seems. It's got a 7 rating of 90. Then after the fact, Diamond Dallas Page has a match against Kurt Hennig, and he wins with a wrestling rating of 68, crowd rating of 59, 7 rating of 79. He had a 73 performance where Kurt Hennig had a 63. Then after the fact, we have Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam out in the middle of the ring. They want to see who the better of the two is, so they have an exhibition match. This match sucked. This angle sucked with a 50 rating. But anyways, the match did not suck, which I knew it wouldn't, where RVD defeats Rey Mysterio with a wrestling rating of 81, crowd rating of 55, summer rating of 81. Now no titles were on the line here, so Rey Mysterio is still the Cruiserweight champion, but Rey Mysterio with a 79 performance, RVD with an 83 performance. And then we have Dusty and Dustin Rhodes both cutting promos. I was hoping this was going to be a lot better. Maybe it's because of Dustin. Maybe if I do Dusty on its own, we'll see how that goes. It says he improvised well though throughout the segment. But anyways, the Rhodes family lose to 3 Count, and 3 Count defends their WCW tag team titles. This had a wrestling rating of 60, crowd of 48, semi rating of 65, Shannon Moore with a 63, Evan Courageous with a 59, 59, Dusty with a 51, Dustin with a 67. Wow. And then we have Jeff Jarrett coming out doing his typical pre-match promo because he's going to be in a match for the World Heavyweight Championship, but Booker T interrupts him and cuts his own promo on Jeff Jarrett. Set a summary of 80, and Booker T just struggled with going off script, but he also benefited from having a hot catchphrase. I'm going to, after this show, script everything from now on, just so it's better for that. Let's get a summary of 80. And in our main event, Booker T defeats Ken Shamrock and Jeff Jarrett, two people that have been rivaling with each other for quite a while now, and Booker T makes defense number 2 of his World Heavyweight Championship. Set a wrestling rating of 79, crowd rating of 71, segment rating of 77. Booker T with a 93 performance, Ken with a 72, Jeff Jarrett with a 71. And that was a 79 rated show. That was a great show. We continue to grow in popularity. This is probably the greatest news that I've seen since starting this. Paul Heyman is going to be a free agent, and there's a lot of re-signings. I don't think I'm going to really be getting anybody. I could put some bids out, but I don't really think it's going to... No, I don't really think. Regal would be nice, but I don't think so. What about X-Pac? I don't think I really have much... Yeah, I don't really have much, I don't know what the word I'm trying to say. But anyways, but with Paul Heyman, he is actually leaving. If you go here, it says he's confirmed to be leaving WWF. So that gives us an opportunity here to sign him, and same with Haku as well. Now, like I said, there's plenty of people here like Tatsumi Fujinami, Stan Hansen, Steve Austin, Mick Foley, Mil Mascaras. He will not want to go with us anyways. We're too small. But yeah, so they're available, but we just don't have the money. Paul Bearer? Okay. We can sign Paul Bearer. That's actually a good option. Is there anybody else now that I've gone all the way down? It seems like everybody is re-signing. No one that sticks out to me. Looks like Chris Candido's signing. We have a contract with Chris Candido. But it doesn't say that yet, but maybe they'll offer him a contract. I'm not sure. But if New Japan offers him a contract, they're probably going to take him exclusively, but we haven't really been using him, so not going to be a big loss at all. Silver King, I haven't used him either. Kind of the same deal. Yeah, he's going with a handshake deal, so it's nothing to worry about here. Jason Jett, I don't even know who you are. Easy Money. I think you were already on the roster. Karuiru, she's one of those people that were loyal, but they're offering her a handshake deal, so it's not a big deal anyways. And as you can see, while I'm checking these out, we also have TV deals expiring. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to renegotiate those, and hopefully we can get some better deals. Steve Corino is just renewing, and Itsuki will not be leaving. Shannon Moore, we definitely should re-sign him. I like to do 2 years because then I don't want more money, so let's do 2 years. Mike Awesome, I haven't really been using him. I'll offer him a contract. I don't know if he's going to re-sign, if he's going to be happy. Yeah, he doesn't want to. Yeah, I messed up with Mike Awesome, but that's fine. Fit Finley, yeah, let's go ahead and renegotiate him. He's a road agent and part of the booking team, so we like having him around. If I can click that, yeah. Like Skip Rhodes, offer him a contract. I want to start using him a little bit more. Him and AJ had a good match when they were together. So, all right, now I'm going to go ahead and work on these TV deals. We start the pre-show for Spring Stampede 6 off with the Prototype and CM Punk teaming together to defeat the Shiver. This had a wrestling rating of 43, crowd rating of 23, 7 rating of 51, CM Punk with a 58 performance, Prototype with a 41, King Shark with 41, Shark Boy with a 33. Stacy Keibler defeated Tori Wilson to defend her WCW Women's title. Set a wrestling rating of 35, crowd of 37, 7 rating of 27. Natural Born Thrillers get their revenge on the Rhodes family. They picked up the win with a wrestling rating of 58, crowd rating of 48, 7 rating of 47. This had Dusty with a 50, Dustin with a 66, Sean O'Hare with a 58, Chuck Palumbo with a 58. In our opening match, Taka Michinoku defeats Rey Mysterio to win the WCW World Cruiserweight Championship. I was hoping this match would do better, but trust me, I have plans. This had a wrestling rating of 59, crowd rating of 45, 7 rating of 58, Taka with a 47 rating, Rey Mysterio with a 71. Hopefully this helps elevate Taka Michinoku. And now we have a Cruiserweight champion who's more aligned with the rest of the Cruiserweights. The Cruiserweight's kind of a lower tier division where Rey is not. So Bray is going to be bumped up to the United States title division, where Taka is now the head of the Cruiserweight division, obviously as the champion. And then we have Jerry Lawler cutting a promo saying that he thinks that he can be United States champion. RVD has almost held this title for a year, and it's just because he hasn't had the right competition, and he thinks that he's that competition. So this got a summary of 88. And they have their match. RVD defeats Jerry Lawler to make his 8th defense of the United States title. This had a wrestling reign of 59, crowd reign of 63, summer reign of 62, RVD with a 70, Lawler with a 47, and RVD and Lawler do not click at all. That is so unfortunate. This show is not going so well. During this match, though, we had Rey Mysterio at ringside to watch the match. Hint, hint. Anyways, we have Shane McMahon and CM Punk are out, and Shane McMahon says that if he cannot win his match tonight with Booker T to win the World Heavyweight Championship, that he will retire from in-ring action and never compete for the title again. So this segment was rated 84. Everyone did really well here. And then we have Lance Storm defeating Ken Shamrock and Buff Bagwell with a wrestling rate of 71, crowd rating of 67, summer rating of 83. Lance Storm with an 88, Ken Shamrock with a 70, Buff Bagwell with a 56. And then we have Jeff Jarrett with a pre-match interview here with Roddy Piper. This got a summer rating of 73. And then Jeff Jarrett defeats Billy Kidman with a wrestling rating of 63, crowd rating of 57, summer rating of 75. Jarrett with a 68 performance, Billy Kidman with a 57 performance. And then in our main event, Shane McMahon defeats Booker T to win the WCW World Heavyweight title for the second time. In this match, we had interference from not only CM Punk, but Vader. So now Shane McMahon just gets help from every direction. Guess it makes sense, he is the boss. But that being said, Shane McMahon is now the new World Heavyweight Championship holder. This is his second time with the belt. This match had a wrestling rating of 78, crowd rating of 79, summer rating of 78, Booker T with the 92 performance, Shane McMahon with the 64 performance. And there was not enough psychology because this was a spectacle match, and I should have known that wasn't a good idea because of Shane not having psychology. Hey, we started bad, but we definitely got better, and also that Jerry Lawler segment did really well, so maybe we gotta do a Jerry Lawler segment every week. Maybe not wrestle, though, as we can see that they did not do well, but we definitely came back, and I'm actually really happy with that. I guess we only had 2 bad segments really on the main show, the Taka beating Rey Mysterio and then RVD defeating Jerry Lawler. Other than that, it was a really good show. Anyways, this had an overall rating of 79, increased popularity in 21 regions. I want to see, we're just going to get through this really quick. Booker T did well. Let's compliment Ray and let's compliment Rob Van Dam. I want them to know that it's not their fault that their matches weren't great, but I do want to see we made a little bit of money, and okay, so we gained popularity in all these now, and I haven't been showing it for a little bit, but the popularity in America hasn't really been going up too much. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Like as you can see here, it went up, but not even a whole level, which is why it's just yellow and not showing that it changed. Quebec, we've been growing pretty rapidly, and same thing with Australia. We've been growing in Australia too, so, but I'm glad to see that we are growing in America. I went ahead and made 2 cuts. We had cut Buff Bagwell and Too Cold Scorpio. Buff Bagwell just isn't really doing much for us, not really helping. Too Cold Scorpio has not been used, I don't think at all. He just keeps complaining and driving down morale, which is understandable, completely understandable. So I just ended up letting him go because I do not plan on using him. He was used in the first Nitro Cup, and we're coming up on the second one. So yeah, so I let him go. We gotta make some cuts. There's a lot of people that aren't being used that are younger, and I gotta get them over, and I gotta kind of start focusing on pushing the younger people and like the older people that I don't really want to use, to kind of cut them out. Like Kurt Hennig is one of them. He's good, but we got some younger people that I want to kind of push in. We got a lot of young people on this roster, so I want to make room for them. Like I can I make McFinley's unimportant, so I guess he won't matter. Like Hugh Morris is one, so there's just quite a bit of people that I can kind of have loose to get the younger people over, and I need to start doing that. So good news disguised as bad news. So Rob Van Dam won a web victory. He was voted on a poll as best overall worker in wrestling today. That's great, especially since we have him. But my worry is that we do have him. We may not have him for long if that's the case. And I looked at his popularity the first time in a while, and he's really popular. So I went ahead and I want him to be one of our guys for forever. So I signed him. I offered him an exclusive contract, $46,000, a lot, but I think it's worth it as being one of our guys. He deserves it. So I offered him an exclusive contract, and now I'm just gonna wait to see what he decides. We now have Rob Van Dam on a full-time contract for $46,000 a month, 3 years. So now we do not have to worry about losing him anytime soon, and that's good news. We start our pre-show for Slamboree 9 with the Rhodes family defeating Stasiak and Styles. This had a wrestling rating of 53, crowd rating of 40, semi rating of 53, and then the team of Stacy Keibler and Natty Neidhart defeats Victoria Wilson and Esther Monroe. Set a wrestling reign of 29, crowd reign of 21, 7 reign of 35. And then Aja Kong defeats Emi Motakawa with a wrestling reign of 35, crowd reign of 5, 7 reign of 38. I expect big things from Aja Kong. Obviously, she didn't perform super well at this moment. Emi Motakawa is really good too, but she's loyal to FMW, and like I said, the people that are loyal to other companies, I don't really want to use them, because if in the chance I want to sign them exclusively, I can't. So I see them more as just visiting more than people that we're going to build to be stars. So and a new team of Vader and the debuting Haku defeat Romeo and Skipper with a wrestling reign of 51, crowd reign of 39, 7 rating of 40. And that means that not only is Vader aligned with Shane McMahon, but also Haku. Interesting stuff here. Elix Skipper and Vader both with a 56 performance, though, so that's really good. I mean, everyone performed really well. Haku with a 49. They're pretty much destined to be main roster guys, both of them, but our tag team division is very slim, hence why I put them together. But so we had to put them in the pre-show just to kind of get some matches out of the way. And also, I wasn't sure how Haku would perform, so I wanted to make sure he was good. And then a debuting Rey Mysterio 3 defeats Nova with a wrestling reign of 62, crowd reign of 25, and a 7 rating of 69. Rey Mysterio with a 58 performance, Nova with a 66 performance. What is going on with Rey Mysterio the 3? Speaking of Rey Mysterio Jr. defeats Viscera, changed his name to Viscera, so it makes more sense. But this had a wrestling reign of 56, crowd reign of 46, 7 rating of 53. Rey Mysterio with a 63 performance, Viscera with a 48 performance, and Rob Van Dam was ringside watching the match. After the match, Rey Mysterio cuts a promo saying that there is someone that was on the pre-show that has something that he wants. Someone has the Rey Mysterio mask and he has not earned it. He has no affiliation with the family and he wants that mask. This had a 7 rating of 55. Everyone did really well here, by the way. I didn't mean to have Rey Mysterio 3 there. He wasn't supposed to be there, but I guess having him there actually helped anyway. So Taka Michinoku defeats Hugh Morris with a wrestling rating of 56, crowd rating of 43, 7 rating of 54. Taka with the 65, Hugh Morris with the 48. Just getting Taka some reps in. He doesn't have a title match this week. There is a number 1 contender match coming up though, so but just keeping him fresh. And speaking of that number 1 contender match, Juventud Guerrera defeats Chavo Guerrero, Psychosis, and Ultimo Dragon, which I believe is his debut here. But this had a wrestling rating of 59, crowd rating of 41, 7 rating of 65. Chavo with a 59 performance, Juventud with a 59, Psychosis with a 63, Ultimo with a 57. All the cruiserweights are really good. I just gotta get them elevated with a boost, and maybe that means putting them against more established people. But as of now, the cruiserweight division is performing very well. We just need to get them with more star power. Ultimo Dragon is unknown, and I believe it was the same way with Psychosis and Juventud when they came up, but they're rising. I think they're all recognizable, so we're slowly getting there, but it's been quite a while. Once we get TV, I think that's gonna help a lot though. Jeff Jarrett defeats Kurt Hennig with a wrestling rating of 64, crowd rating of 57, summer rating of 69. Jeff Jarrett with a 60 performance, Kurt with a 60. And a debuting Prince Justice defeats Sabu. Prince Justice, accompanied by his manager Percy Pringle III. This had a wrestling rating of 51, crowd rating of 29, summer rating of 51. Sabu with a 61 performance, Prince Justice with a 40. Obviously, I want to use Sabu, but he's older. I think he's 35, 34. And I really want to push younger people. And unfortunately, he's one of the people that had to fall because of that. But I don't think he's not going to be like pushed out completely. I'm still going to try to use him a little bit here. Enhancement talent, and then also get him over a little bit better than just enhancement talent. I think he's going to be like right above that level there. And Paul Heyman comes out in the backstage area side by side with Rob Van Dam, and he addresses Rey Mysterio saying that he better focus on what's truly important. That's the US title, because if he is too distracted with other things, Rob Van Dam is going to roll right through him. That is summer rating of 67, and Paul Heyman debuted his loudmouth gimmick and it got an initial rating of great, and he improvised well throughout the segment. In our main event, Diamond Dallas Page, Booker T, and Lance Storm all face off to decide who is the number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight title. Shane McMahon, not even on the show this week. Definitely different than all the other champions here that are basically defending almost every single week, or at least performing in some capacity. This had a wrestling rating of 84, crowd rating of 77, and a summer rating of 82. And I forgot to mention, Diamond Dallas Page has won the match match. DDP is definitely in a tough spot currently because he's not the top guy that I see Booker T as, and then he's not the up-and-comer like I see Lance Storm. So he definitely has a lot more losses, so this was a way to get him like a good win here. Obviously he was the worst performer of the match with a 73, which is nothing, you know, to be ashamed of, but definitely the worst performer of the match, but it was still great performance in the best match of the night, I believe. So yeah, so that's that. Commentary of Roddy Piper was pretty weak. I might remove Roddy Piper, maybe make him a interviewer. I think that might be a better position for him. It's the day after Slamboree, and already Death of Nitro is here. Obviously, Death of Nitro is the only event we have on a weekly, you know, on a weekday. It's Monday, just in place of that, you know, the old Nitro. But I think it's time. We're coming up on, is this a year? We've been doing this for a year now. Death of Nitro 2 is kind of the you know, completely 1 year of the new era. So I think it's time to get some TV in here. We have a lot of younger stars and you know, more unknown name stars that I want to bring to light, and this is the way to do it. So we have our show Evolution that is going to be replacing Saturday Night, Nitro, Worldwide, Thunder, all those shows. Just a fresh start. We have a lot of the original pay-per-views, but this is going to be completely a fresh start. So we need to find TV. So this is the TV cable in America. We have FX, HDNet, Sci-Fi, Showcase, and Showtime. Looks like so Showtime, Sci-Fi, and FX are all medium, I think. So I guess it's all based on, I'm going to be really smart about this. So FX is neutral wrestling and they're high risk. Sci-Fi is against wrestling and medium risk. And Showtime is neutral wrestling and high risk. So basically FX is, wait, no. So FX and Showtime are about the same. Let's go ahead and go with FX. I believe, yeah, let's just do FX. Let's see if they want us here at Evolution. Okay, so they don't want a late evening, which I expected that. We're gonna have a pretty, actually we could just test out our deals here. So with FX, we can do 1 year late night. How much money can we get? So we could do 35% to the company. So let's go ahead and look at Showtime. 1 year late night with the same. It's the exact same. So let's just go ahead. We're already here. Let's do ahead and get a deal with Showtime here. We can always adjust it once our year is up. So now we have a deal for Evolution, but what? I don't remember what time and day it is. So it's 1 hour. That's fine. Actually, can we change it? Is it too late to change? Hour and 30 minutes. Yeah, let's do an hour and 30 minutes right now. We can change it to 2 hours later. And it's on a Friday. So that's away from Raw. We don't want to be competing with Raw other than this pay-per-view, obviously. But yeah, so now after our second annual Death of Nitro show, we will have our first ever Evolution show as well. But let us continue looking here for TV deals, because we don't just want America if possible. Actually, you know what? That is actually all we can do, because let's look at terrestrial commercial. No, let's look at any type. Let's see. Yeah, we cannot do any other deals here. I think there's this Canada one. We could always also Showcase. I guess I didn't even see that. I didn't realize that Showcase was in Canada. So they're neutral wrestling and high risk. So let's go ahead and try to get a deal with Showcase as well. So they actually are okay with us doing late evening, but we have to pay $18,000, and I don't want to pay any money. So let's do late night. That gives us a lot of leniency on our minimum quality, but at least we're getting some tension in Canada, which is important for once after we are in the big size. The next step will be to expand into either Canada or Mexico, and I believe we are closer to that in Canada than we are in Mexico. Yeah, a lot closer. So anything else we can do? We could always, it's weird that we can do pay-per-views in Australia but not TV, but we could always just do a pay-per-view deal in Australia, right? Yeah, let's do a pay-per-view deal, and we'll do it short, just because it's just kind of a test. We'll do 6 months, we'll do half a year, and we'll do late night, and we'll see if we actually get anything. I'm worried that it's gonna wear out the crowd with the pay-per-view abundance thing. I don't know if that's gonna affect it, but it's worth a shot. That's gonna grow us a little bit in Australia just because it's available. No reason to not utilize a money-making opportunity in this sense, especially, well, we got money, but not like, we're not making WWF money. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's get into Death of Nitro. So Dusty Rhodes wants to be a locker room leader, and I think that is a amazing opportunity. I don't know why I stuttered so much there. He's the perfect person to it. He's not only that he's got the history in WCW, but he's the father of Dustin Rhodes, and he also is the mentor of Diamond House Page. So I don't know if it was just in the game or that happened naturally. Sometimes I feel like I need to pay attention a little bit more, but I agree. I want him to be here. Jeff Jarrett wants to be part of the booking team. This skills rated 71. Yeah, I guess why not? I don't know why everyone's sweating emotions today, but it is what it is. And I bring his father onto the team, and now he's getting into fights with Shark Boy. Oh my god, Dustin Rhodes is really getting upset with people. Alex Shelley came to me with creative finish, and you really need to use the creative finish stuff, but the creative stuff, but I just don't. The risk of it going bad is just too scary for me to try. It is the 1 year anniversary of Shane McMahon's WCW, and we are kicking off the WCW Death of Nitro pre-show. It's gonna be a long pre-show, but Natural Born Thrillers defeat 3 Count to win the WCW World Tag Team titles. This had a wrestling reign of 60, Brother reign of 45, Summer reign of 64. Then America's Most Wanted defeats The Bad Breed with a wrestling reign of 36, Crowd reign of 13, Summer reign of 30. Prince Justice defeats Terry Funk with a wrestling reign of 44, Crowd reign of 33, Summer reign of 24. Steve Corino defeats The Sandman in a hardcore match, the wrestling reign of 53, Crowd reign of 39, Summer reign of 45. Alex Shelley defeats Kevin Steen with a wrestling reign of 32, Crowd reign of 2, Summer reign of 23. CM Punk defeats Chris Hero with a wrestling reign of 51, Crowd reign of 21, Summer reign of 46. Sajak and Styles defeats the Rhodes family with a wrestling reign of 54, Crowd reign of 42, and a Summer reign of 51. John Cena defeats Chris Candido, the wrestling reign of 44, Crowd reign of 21, Summer reign of 34. Kenny Omega defeats Matt with a wrestling reign of 41, Crowd reign of 30, Summer reign of 18. And then in our Nitro Cup this year is going to be all women, and Tori Wilson won the second annual WCW Nitro Cup, defeating cheerleader Melissa, Karuidu, Simply Lucius, Aja Kong, Esther Moreno, Allison Danger, Emi Motokawa, 99 Heart, and then Charmel. Set a wrestling reign of 29, crowd rating of 8, sim rating of 38, and it did not look good. Cheerleader Melissa was off her game. Karuidu seemed off her game. Tori Wilson has a strong connection with the young female demographic, so that's good. Aja Kong was rusty. I didn't realize, was she rusty last match? And I think she's been wrestling too, if I'm not mistaken. I can't click on her yet, but I'm pretty sure she's been wrestling, so I don't know why she's rusty. And then we start our show with Shane McMahon bragging that he has taken over wrestling in just 1 year, and he is building the strongest roster of men ever in Haku, Vader, and CM Punk. He's got the two brutes of Vader and Haku, and he's got CM Punk, the up-and-coming technical wrestler that's going to take the world by storm. And then Diamond Dallas Page comes out and says that that's going to all come to an end. He may own the company, but after tonight, he's going to be the face of the company. And Shane McMahon tells him that he's got a surprise for Diamond Dallas Page, that he's not just going to be wrestling in the main event tonight. He's going to be wrestling now in a match against Haku and Vader. Now, it doesn't matter if he wins the match. He doesn't have to win, but he's at least got to get through them to face him. And this got a wrestling reign of 74, and that match, it came up next, like promised, and Vader and Haku beat Diamond Dallas Page. Yeah, definitely not a good matchup here, because both of them just probably beat the hell out of Diamond Dallas Page. This had a wrestling reign of 60, crowd rating of 60, semi rating of 60. DDP with a 77 performance. He carried the match. Haku with a 50, Vader with a 55. Yeah, that did not do as well as I thought it was going to do. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit better. But anyways, after the match, Booker T's coming out for his match, and he helps up Diamond Dallas Page. Even though these two have been pretty much back and forth for the World Heavyweight title, they are showing respect for each other in this moment. They have one common goal, and that's to get the title off of Shane McMahon, so they unite on that front, and so, you know, they support each other, and he helps Diamond Dallas Page up after a very brutal match against two giants of the company. This had a segment rating of 90. Great segment. And then, like I said, Booker T's out here for his match, but he loses to Lance Storm. This is the first time that these two have gone head-to-head without a title involved, and this is also the first time Lance Storm has defeated Booker T. This had a wrestling rate of 91, crowd rating of 76, segment rating of 63. I thought I took... I didn't take Roddy Piper off commentary. I thought I did, but I think I just did it for one time. And I think, honestly, that might have been the reason why this did not do better. But it was 83. It was still great. Let's see. So it was penalized because of Roddy Piper, World Heavyweight title storyline having low heat. It was penalized for being done to a crowd that was already at emotional high. So because it was a spectacle match, it got penalized for the crowd already being high. I actually did not know that. That's good to know. Anyways, afterwards, RVD and Paul Heyman are out to celebrate the 1-year title reign of Rob Van Dam. Now, it's not exactly 1 year, it's 364 days, which is unfortunate. But they're here to celebrate going into their next match, which Rob Van Dam will be defending against Rey Mysterio. But they're just celebrating the fact that RVD has held it for 1 year and has had a 7 rating of 81. And I feel like Paul Heyman is taking credit for it, even though he literally just showed up. But then after the fact, we have that match, and RVD defeats Rey Mysterio, and it's a clean match. But RVD makes his ninth defense of the United States title. Rey Mysterio definitely looking good though, with a 68 performance. Well, not as good as RVD, but still looking pretty good. Rey Mysterio is pretty low on the card compared to RVD, so it's definitely he definitely had a great performance for that. But this had a wrestling rate of 79, crowd rating of 58, and a summary rate of 79, and he got the crowd buzzing. After the match, Rey Mysterio III comes in and attacks Rey Mysterio Jr. RVD just doesn't really do anything about it. It looks like Rey Mysterio III did not like what Rey Jr. was saying about him, and it's had a summary rating of 47. And then our cruiserweight title match, Takemichi Inoku defeats Juventud Guerrera. This is his first defense of the cruiserweight title. This had a wrestling rating of 56, crowd rating of 45, summary rating of 63. Talk with a 51 performance, Juventud with a 62 performance. And then in our main event, Diamond Dallas Page defeats Shane McMahon with a diamond cutter and wins the World Heavyweight Championship. It's had a wrestling rate of 70, crowd rating of 78, segment rating of 81. So we start the new year of WCW with Diamond Dallas Page as world champion, and he got an 80 performance, so pretty good. Not great, not the best, but definitely pretty good. I'm trying to, hopefully the pre-show stuff helped. It's a pain to go ahead and book these long pre-shows. I mean, basically there was just a bunch of 5-minute matches, and hopefully that actually does help. I mean, they're being exposed at least, so yeah, pretty happy with this show. Definitely some matches could have been better, like RVD versus Rey Mysterio, and then Taka versus Juventud definitely are the two that really stuck out to me. Oh yeah, and also the handicap match, but it is what it is. It's already over, so I'm gonna have to cut this video here. I've been going on way too long. If you want to see the continuation of this challenge, go ahead and like. I think we're doing very good, but we're about to start TV, so go ahead and like the video and subscribe if you did enjoy it. Thank you.